Welcome back. This is Barbecue, and we are on the 20th and final mission of the Vergeev Group campaign. So I'm going to get this thing started, and we should get a briefing here from command shortly.
Hello. 223 on air, hello. Good morning. Good morning, 223. Don't delay the takeoff. Scrapka is on approach to Control 1. Escorted to Control 7. Wait for cancel command and return to base. Standard escorting mission.
223, copy that. Escort Scrapka to Control 7. Standard return to base upon cancel command from Scrapka.
Correct, 223. Go on. The route is open. Takeoff is flight dispatcher. Over.
Okay, so this is an escort convoy mission, and, well, before I screw up my startup, let me just finish this. I guess we might as well turn on the lights for this mission. Not that you'll be able to see them that well. And I'm going to set my alarm limit to around 10. Number 2 is just about ready. Okay, so we've got a convoy mission, and this one was a real pain to edit to get it working with the latest version of DCS World because of some movement of vehicles over a bridge that just they could not get across. But I think I've got it sorted out, but it has been a while since I've flown this, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens, so it'll refresh my memory. But basically, you have to stay with the convoy, but they don't want you too close. So you have to be basically further than 1 kilometer, but not further than 2 kilometers at all times. So, oops, forgot that. Naval said the route was open, but then she said something about the I guess we better check in with ATC just to be sure. It's kind of confusing as to whether or not we had to do that or not.
Сочи, 233, руление.
At least we get to see a fast mover take off, I think. Okay, that's not exactly a fast mover, I guess, but it's a bomber. Rather, it's a commercial airline. And it helps when we're on the right radio channel, and it helps when you stay on the taxiway too.
Сочи,
Okay, what's going on here?
233, взлет.
Okay. You know what? That's close enough. So we'll head for our steer point, which is along the coast, north. And we should hook up with our group here. So yeah, this is the last one, sadly, in my opinion. It's been a great ride. I hope you guys have enjoyed the narration part and maybe picked up a tip or two. I'm pretty sure that there's no work being done on the rest of this campaign. I don't know if I think I mentioned it maybe in the first narration that basically the plan was to do 100 missions and in 5 parts, so 20 missions per part. And that's what we've got here as part 1. And for various reasons, not the least of which was compatibility with future versions of BCS World and the mission editor at the time, they decided to hold off continuing, and it just never started again. And again, there's probably a lot of reasons, including time and money, but I'm hoping that one day they'll resume development and that I can help out by testing or whatever they need. Alright, we're coming up on our steer point here. And did I just see a convoy? No.
No, this is 223, first control.
Now I'm reading you, 223. Await Skripka at control, over.
So we've got to wait for the convoy Skripka. And they'll be coming from that road right there, over where it forks to the right, and it winds on back behind those hills. See if we can see him coming. There they are. So again, we've got to keep that range. I think it's a little forgiving right here at the first waypoint, but once we make for our next waypoint, that'll be in effect. Let's just go hook up with them now, and we should get a message about staying away, but not too far away.
Noel, 223, Skripka in sight. Engaging into escort.
Now I'll copy that, 223, over.
233, Skripka. Thanks for escort. Don't hand over us, but be in line of sight. Skripka, 233, roger that. Staying within line of sight range. Engaging. 233, Skripka, we're walking over. Over.
Right, so we need to keep them in visual range, or rather have a line of sight on them anyway. And although it didn't say in the message, I'm pretty sure you need to be at least 1 kilometer away, but not 2. So somewhere in between there. And obviously the Schwal can come in handy for this. As can radar altimeter hold mode. Yeah, I know we're going backwards, but I just want to get a little bit more range. That ought to do. You know, you can kind of, once you ping them with your laser, okay, so there, 1.1, and you want to go off the guy in the middle, you know, if you really want to be exact. So if you can see, you know, how big they are, you can turn off the Schwal and just maintain that distance, because you don't get your speed readout when you've got the Schwal on, at least not digitally. So, and this speedometer is useless, you know, under 50 kph basically. What I like to do is just automatic turn to target, have that mode on, and keep that guy locked up. And then get going around 30, somewhere between 20 and 40. And then you've got radar altimeter hold on. Occasionally you'll break lock and you'll have to find them again, but if you get some altitude, see, we're creeping up on them, we're at 1, we better pull back. So this one's all about the details, and it takes a bit to get used to working this out so that you're basically 1.5 kilometers away the whole time. You can do it visually, like I said. You know, you could sit there over on the water and stay away from them and just not even have them locked up and just do 30 kph. But you also have to hit your waypoints, so you got to keep all those things in mind. That ought to work for the altitude. And just because you're going the same speed they are, you know, they're turning and twisting on these roads, which is going to mean that you're going to be creeping up on them and not know it. So remember that. You've got to consider that. I think they get moving a lot faster once they get on this main road here in a second. So my original goal with this narration was to just get more people exposed to the campaign, because a lot of people probably didn't even know about it unless you're like perusing the forums and pretty diligent about it. You'll miss it. And I think it's a great campaign, as I've said a number of times, and just wanted to make sure, A, that everybody who flies the Ka-50 at least knows about it, and B, that maybe this will inspire someone to do something similar, or to rally the community behind the Vergeev Group to try to have them develop the next part. And, just, it's a lot of fun. So, like I said, I didn't want anyone to miss out on it. Alright guys, come on, get going. I know that the Vergeev Group had some subject matter experts on the team. I know that one guy, Laroni, I think he's a military guy. Don't think he's a pilot, but I think he worked either on a crew for aircraft or helicopters, but not in this region, not in the Caucasus, but somewhere similar, with the sort of mountainous coastal terrain. And so I think that as far as that goes, it's pretty realistic. As I said in that last mission, when we have to clear that LZ, I know that's realistic, at least in terms of the conflict in Afghanistan. It takes a lot of time to do this, especially when there's little details everywhere, and that a lot of those details force you to learn how to fly the Ka-50 well, like the whole steer point deal where you have to, get pretty close to them in order to pass the mission. The missions that basically force you to use the the route mode, and how that basically makes you understand little things like it doesn't work after the 6th waypoint, things like that. It really sort of grounds you out on the fundamentals really well. At least in my experience, it helped me more than anything else, more than the developers' notes, videos, more than the manual and the training. Playing this campaign and getting through it, without cheating, you're going to end up knowing the fundamentals of how to fly this helicopter. So at this point, I'm just letting the auto turn to target mode steer for me, and I'm just keeping an eye on that range. Yeah, they're definitely picking up speed now. And you want to also keep an eye on your current steer point to make sure that you hit that. So our next one's going to be right here. So once you set up the trim properly, these guys should start extending. Yeah, there we go, 1.2. So you want to just nail the speed. So that doesn't change once you get it to where you want it. And you can basically just go hands off. This is a long convoy mission, and it's gonna probably an hour. There's a little bit of detail at the end, if I remember correctly. In order to keep them, this is where you start losing them, when you lose the lock through the buildings. So you just acquire them when you pass the building. I guess maybe it would help if I put this on moving target. Yeah, so we lost him, so I'll pick him back up again. In the end, they make it so that you're right on the border there with Georgia, and it's weird, but somehow it's hard to keep them at the range you need to keep them at without crossing the border, and just be aware of that, because you'll get fired on, obviously. Let's see, 1, 2, how many guys are there here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, the 4th guy's pretty good spot. See how well this moving target mode works. It looks like we're staying about 1.4, so that's perfect. Again, hands and feet are off the controls, and this should take you all the way home, basically. Just make sure you keep them locked up when you pass buildings, etc., and you'll get to the end. These recordings are take up a lot of hard disk space, and this mission in particular is very long, but this is basically it. Be sure to hit your waypoints and everything else that I've said. It looks like I am going a little bit slow, so I'm going to pick it up. And you'll be good to go. So this has been a lot of fun for me. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and when you can, if you're on the forums, show your support for the Vergeev Group, and complain a lot about them stopping development in a good way. And hopefully I'll be able to do this for part 2. So enjoy the campaign. I hope it inspires you to either attempt to make one yourself, or get a team together to do one, or contribute in any way that you can to existing mission making. There's a whole forum thread that's dedicated to mission building, and there's a lot of good info in there. So good luck completing part 1, and we'll see you in part 2.